You know, I've been reading and studying a lot of famous mentors, and I've had a chance to reflect on some of the ideas. And there's one particular idea I want to share with you, and that has to do with the difference between income that you generate by working for someone else and income that you generate through a business. We all have the same 24 hours in a day to do something with. We can work and give some of that time to an employer, and when we do that, we're basically selling our time or selling our skills. The problem with that is that there's only so much time in the day. Everyone only has the same 24 hours. So you could work a 10 or 12 hour day, and you could, let's say you make $100,000 a year, which is good income. It's about 4 times what the average is in the United States right now. Would definitely put you in the top 3% of people in the world as far as income. How are you going to increase that? And this is the problem. It's a two-faceted problem. The first is that there's only so many hours in the day, and either your employer isn't willing to let you work any more hours, or you simply don't have the energy to work any more hours. You know, you do have to eat and you do have to sleep. So if you get 8 hours of sleep and you're working a 12-hour day, that's 20 of your 24 hours. You still have to commute, and of course you have to eat, and of course you have to bathe, and that of course doesn't take into consideration any family interaction time. So if you had 10 or 12 hours a day and you're making $100,000 a year, now what? How are you going to make an extra 10%? You have no more time to put in. Or your employer just isn't willing to pay you any more per hour than what he's already paying you. His goal is to pay you just enough to keep you from leaving, but nowhere near what you're worth. Now, we call that linear income, because you're paid by the hour or paid by the week or by the month, and that is linear. In other words, you work an extra hour, you get an extra hour's pay. You get paid based on time. The more time you put in, the more you get paid based on a certain amount per hour, per week, per month, or per year. On the other hand, I wanted to introduce you to a different concept, and instead of earning income, I want you to think of making a profit. You see, in making a profit, there are no limits. There are no limits in how much you can make per hour. There's no limits in the amount of hours that can be put in, because you can leverage your time with technology or through the efforts of other people. Henry Ford said the true measure of success is making money 24 hours a day. But Henry Ford, the inventor of the assembly line, and the assembly line that he invented ran 24 hours a day. So even while he was asleep, cars were coming off the assembly line. Now, if he was making a certain profit, and just for argument's sake, let's say that a car sold for $300, and that he was making a profit of 10% or $30 per car, then in an 8-hour time of his sleeping, 8 times 30, $240, which in those days was could be a month's earnings for an average person. He was earning that while he slept. And of course, he was able to lever his efforts through other people. And of course, we also know he had many, the automobiles were rolling off in multiple locations at the same time. Jim Rohn said it this way: profits are better than wages. Get a good full-time job and start a part-time business to build a fortune, and focus on your part-time business with whatever little amounts of time you have, because that is the area where you can multiply your time, your efforts, and your skills without the limits that you have in your job. And I don't know where this came from, job, J-O-B, but someone coined the phrase just over broke. And profits are better than wages. Think of it this way: Henry Ford invented the assembly line, and once he had invented the assembly line, he got paid over and over and over again for doing exactly the same thing. He produced a car, and each time he assembled a car, he got paid. And the more assembly lines he could construct and operate, the faster and more money he made. Profits are better than wages. Now, did he pay wages? Everybody that worked for Ford got paid wages. Everybody, except Henry Ford. Henry Ford got paid profit. And it was residual. The reason it was residual is because not only did he get paid every time he did something, but those cars, once they were sold, had to be maintained. People had to replace certain parts. And of course, at that time, there was no place to get parts except from the manufacturer. There was no Scott's Auto Parts stores. There was only the manufacturer. If you needed a part for a Ford, you could only get it from Ford. And so he had a huge business very quickly of selling the parts that broke or wore out. Profits are better than wages.